Declaration of Independence. Our thesis was that the Declaration of Independence aimed to justify Congress's decision to break free of British Empire by claiming that King George III was a tyrant ruler. Viewing themselves as a free people, the Congress thus deemed it necessary for them to sever ties with Great Britain. The majority of the colonists reacted in favor of the Declaration by increasing patriotic sentiments among Americans in the opening stages of the Revolution. However, there were some colonists who remained loyal to the Crown, in contrasting views to the Declaration as an unlawful document supported by imaginary grievances. So the build-up to the writing of the Declaration of Independence started when the colonies began to form their own currency as well as their own independent army. This was seen as an act of rebellion. The British Parliament decided to pass the American Prohibitory Act in 1775. This act prohibited colonial ships from sailing in the ocean to other colonies, which impacted trade and colonial relations. With that, Thomas Paine's common sense was a major factor on the growth of independence and want for freedom from the Crown. It sold over 20,000 copies in 6 months. This writing expressed that the monarchy was not a formal and good set of government for the colonies and restricted their freedom and independence. They believed that it was better for them to set up their own form of government that was based off of popular view instead of a tyrant ruler like King George III. So one of the sources that I found was a opinion piece written on July 7, 1776. It was written by 5 of the Maryland delegates. This piece talked about why they voted for the Declaration of Independence and why they believed that it was important to write it. They claimed that the British had been restricting the colonial freedom for many years, and that it was the leading reason to become independent from the Crown. They believed that the American Prohibitory Act was a leading cause to their decision to agree to the Declaration, because they were cutting off the intercourse between the colonies, and they also believed that for the past 10 years, a steady system of oppression by passing many impolitics and severe and cruel acts for raising a revenue from the colonies. The colonies believed that the Crown had been raising taxes, increasing profit from the colonies just to benefit the mother country without any care for the colonies themselves. They only were focusing on profit for themselves and taking money out of the income of the colonies. They also referred back to the Quebec Act, stating by extending the limits of erecting an arbitrary government in the province of Quebec, it had been such a negative impact on the colonies, and they disapproved of the colonies fighting for the British government but not getting any reward. They felt that it was against them and didn't believe that it helped with their independence and freedom. Another quote from this opinion piece was, "The King of Great Britain has violated his compact with his people, and they owe no allegiance to him. We have therefore thought it was just with and necessary to empower our deputies in Congress to join with the majority of the United Colonies in declaring them free and independent." I think that really summarizes their whole point of how the British Crown had taken advantage of the colonies, and they were done, and they wanted to become independent and free from the rule of the Crown. So the Declaration of Independence was formulated and written by 5 major delegates. Those included Thomas Jefferson, who was from Virginia, John Adams from Massachusetts, Roger Sherman from Connecticut, Benjamin Franklin from Pennsylvania, and Robert Livingston from New York. And those were all 5 major colonies that were growing and prospering throughout all 13 colonies. Thomas Jefferson was considered the main writer for the Declaration of Independence because he was well known for his work on official papers in Virginia. He actually rewrote his draft of the Declaration many times, which can actually be seen in the New York Public Library every July. So especially on the 4th of July, they do a big event for that. But you can go see all his drafts. They continued to draft the declaration because they wanted a unanimous vote to show that the colonies were consistently wanted to be independent. All of them wanted this freedom from Britain. They voted multiple times on it to prove that they were unanimous. In the end, 12 of the 13 colonies approved the declaration, except New York. New York didn't vote on it until weeks later, until after it was sent off. Couldn't find the reason exactly why, but it was just they didn't vote on it at all. The declaration is broken up into 5 parts. The preamble, there's 3 main body paragraphs stating their reasons, and a conclusion. The preamble states the general reason why they want to leave the the crown. They wanted the freedom, and one of the most well-known statements from the preamble is that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is well known because they were saying that they were unable to have those freedoms while under the rule of the crown. And they also believed that this next quote, organizing its powers in such a form as they seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. It shows that they felt like they didn't have the power to be happy and safety to protect themselves under the power of the crown, that the crown was no longer helping them in any way to make them happy and safe. The body paragraphs are the main reasons why they do not want to be part of the British Crown. So the list continues for there are many points on them, and most of them include the Crown imposing taxes without their consent. They believed that he refused to assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for public good. The second quote says that the Crown was not acknowledging what was best for the colonies and did not approve of, they were not being protected, and the Crown did not have a care for their happiness and the safety of the colonies. And the other 2 quotes, he had resolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with many firmness his invasions on the rights of the people and for cutting off the trade with all parts of the world. They were main points of why they thought they should separate from the Crown, because they were not able to trade freely, and the Crown didn't care about what the people viewed or what would be best for them. And in the conclusion, it is the final decision of, we're going to break free, we want to become independent from you, and no longer want to be a colony of your country.